So,
Cool.
I am Oprah Winfrey tonight, I think.
There we go.
Either that or Graham Norton, one or the other. You can decide later on. So, we've been working together for a good few months now.
Yeah, probably 2 months.
Probably longer.
Is it longer? Well, no, the
Yeah.
whole thing's taken 4.5 months.
4.5 months.
So when did we start talking?
I'd probably say about 3 months ago.
Right, okay.
I saw this property that John had purchased and just thought, that's wicked. It's going to be an amazing essay. It's down in Morecambe.
Yep.
It's got an ace name, so we kind of worded this tonight. Was it all plain sailing at the Times? A little bit cheesy, but I don't care. So we thought we'd just do a little bit of a interview basis today.
Yeah.
So, John, I want you to tell everybody here, because you've been coming for a little while.
I've been coming for 2 years.
About 2 years.
Something like that. Like the last 6 months at Ribby Hall, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So roughly about the same
exactly.
time as me, I think.
I turned up in shorts and flip-flops last time because it was warm when we started. I remember when we started, I walked in and Martin, and it was just like this, and they said, right, you've got to stand up and talk for 30 seconds. I was shitting myself. I was like, oh my God, there's like 40 people, and I'm going to have to stand up and start talking. And now I'm sat here just freestyling it, so I'm quite happy with myself.
Should be.
In a sense.
So how long have you been involved in property, John, in terms of being a landlord/investor?
2 years.
2 years?
Something like that, yeah.
So roughly
I've
about the same time.
I've always been involved in property in as much as I've worked on building sites. I've done, I've worked for loads of private clients. We refurb houses for other people. So that side isn't really new. I have a really nice network of trades. So I've been involved in property for ages, for probably 30 years.
Yeah.
I've only been involved in being a landlord and investing myself for about two. And we kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
Because if anyone's got old parents or parents that are aging and they go into, they end up going into care homes and it costs a fortune. If they have savings, it costs a fortune. So we rented my mum and dad's house out and we had to refurb that to a degree because people would come in and go, yeah, it's all right, but the kitchen's rubbish, which my dad built. So we did a bit of refurb on that. We rented that out and that paid for some of my mum's care. And then when my folks passed away, me and my brother inherited the house and I bought him out and we just carried on renting it to the same people that were renting it.
Cool.
When my parents were. Yeah.
Cool. So in relation to the Tides, did you intentionally choose that property to be a service accommodation property?
Not really. I ended up buying the Tides.
And why Morecambe as well?
I've lived in Morecambe for, I don't live in Morecambe now, I live in South Lancaster, but I've lived in Morecambe for about the last 34 years, so I know Morecambe really well. I bought it because Mark Nichols, a lot of people know Mark Nichols from Morecambe, runs Bay Property Network with Pete, or he used to. He's a pal of mine, and he sent it to me and said, I'm thinking of investing in this, can you read through me investor pack, etc, etc. I'm just going to do a quick refurb, quick paint, massive clean, and then rent it out. It'll it stacks. It's full cash out. I'm like, yeah, cool, it sounds good. And then he came back about 2 weeks later and said, my investor's dropped out, I can't buy it, I'm not buying it. I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. And then I bought it at auction. I bought it at auction the week after I came back from Stephen Green's property training up in Redcar. So what I discovered about myself when I get to the edge of a cliff, as in life, I don't always step off it. I'll sort of step back and think, no, I'll stay where I am because that's really frightening and this is quite comfortable. And I came, and this is, when you always know stuff about yourself, but nobody really highlights it. And then when they do, you either shrink and stay where you are, or you go and grow. And when I came back, I thought, right, I've got to do this. So I bought this property at auction the Friday after I came back on the Monday, and it stacked to a degree. Everyone takes a piss at me because they all say, "Is this the property you were just going to paint?" I'm like,
he did more than paint it.
Oh, we did more than paint it, yeah. Yeah, we did loads more than paint it.
We did more than that. But in terms of jumping off that cliff, do you want to tell everybody where you were when you bid at auction for your next property?
Oh, I was on a ski lift in Italy when I bid for the next one. So when you step off the cliff and then you realise you're not going to die, and everything's fine, and you come out the other side, then you start going looking for other stuff, because you realise that to become more, or to become a better version of yourself, or to grow, you've got to do the thing that's really frightening. So I then thought, right, I'll buy another house, which I bought, sat on a ski lift in Italy in February with my pal, and I bloody won, and I didn't expect to win, and I thought, shit, I haven't got any money. So then I had to sort all this out really quickly with Bridging Company, we're together, and so that's going on at the minute. So I've got two pals of mine, my friend Dave Fylde, that's a 30-year mate of mine that I was at college with. He's a builder, and he's there at the moment refurbing it. One of my goals is to not work on this house, as in to outsource everything. So I've got a really good team. I've got a really good pal of mine that's got a joinery company that has loads of stuff. You know, he has about 3 lads work for him. So he's going to do my joinery. I ended up there, not yesterday, the day before, because I had to help lift some lintels. Ended up there for 5 hours doing joinery and bits and bats. So I didn't quite outsource everything, but there's certain things you have to do, isn't there?
Okay.
Sorry, if I sort of ramble off in another, you know, on a tangent, just tell me. We started off saying, where were you when you bought your next house? I was on the ski lift.
I just thought, because you jumped off a cliff, you see, so you were pretty much on a cliff.
Now, so
you were
actually
about to jump off again.
Doing that wasn't that frightening. It was just, I'm now going looking for stuff that makes me feel scared and excited. So the next thing I buy, sorry.
Meet my wife.
Should meet my wife.
I know your wife. She's all right. She's cool. So yeah, I'll have to find something bigger and more frightening next time, because I tend to feel bored if I'm not scared.
Yeah. So I've just realised, have you got the slides? Have you got the slideshow?
Where's the slides? Anybody?
No.
Where's Emma Martin?
So there should be a slideshow going on behind us, guys, of what we've actually done at the tides, but doesn't seem to be up there.
I sent you a message about that today, so you didn't know.
Did I not say I'd sent it to Emma?
No. You said
Emma Chase.
I've not got one.
Because Ed sent it through.
Yeah, Emma downloaded it.
Did she?
We'll see if you can find it. We'll carry on. So
you guys carry on.
So John, what made you decide to use my services as a home stager?
I was wondering what was going on with that. Have you got any slides for tonight? No. We've got one from Ed that will play in the background. That's what you replied with.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, sorry.
We've got one from Ed. Sorry, I assumed that meant Ed was bringing something.
Oh, sorry, no. It's with Emma had it.
Oh, not Ed.
Never mind.
No, sorry.
The show must go on.
If Emma's got it, okay. You guys carry on.
We'll carry on.
I'll see if.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's only like a 2-3 minute video that
It'll
just
play
repeats, so
that.
I'm sure it'll come up at some
What
point.
made
So
me decide to work with you?
Yeah.
I like you. I like your energy. You're dead enthusiastic. You're cool, man. Yeah, I get along with you. And I like people you can bounce stuff off.
Yeah.
You know, and when we have all the way through, we've had a WhatsApp group with me, you, and Paula. That's my wife, and you've sent over pictures and art and chairs and lamps and everything you need to kit at NSA. And sometimes you'll send it over at 11:30 at night. And to me, it's not work. It's not, you're not working. I find this fun. I really like this.
Yeah.
So even, you know, I'll be going to bed and I'll just think, right, I'll just reply to this, or I'll just do this, or I'll just do this. And that's why, because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's not a job.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
It's been good.
It's been really good.
Yeah.
It's been really good.
Just to explain to everybody else, like, obviously we've done a lot of like chat between us and what do you think of this, and because we want to be really involved. If anybody doesn't want to be involved, we can simply put together mood boards, send them over. Is this kind of what you're looking for? Yay, go ahead. And that's what I've done with a few other people, particularly the Swiss guys. I think some of you have met Louise when she's come here. They literally out of the country and just went, Emma, just go and do it, please. We don't want to be involved, but you guys really do.
Yeah.
Because it was your baby, your
it's
first
my
baby.
Yeah, there's I can't put any more into this house than I have. But there's polarity now as well, because it's really tiring. But we'll talk into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's.
So,
Yeah.
were there any specific ideas or suggestions that stood out to you that either I made or maybe somebody else in passing made?
The window, the biggest one was the window in the
Window.
kitchen.
Yeah.
You know when you put an extension on an house and you've got your back window that looks onto the garden, and you've then got an extension on the back, which we have on our house at home, and we have two glass windows, just stand sheet windows in the original openings, because you want to separate one room from the other. Well, we did this in the ties from the kitchen to the conservatory, but really you didn't want it. You want the whole thing to flow,
Yeah.
so that when you've got, say we've got 6 guests sat in the conservatory, the garden's south facing, by the way, so it's really nice. You've got the patio, you've got the sun from 11 till 7, you've got trees at the back, it's really pretty. And if you've got someone cooking or making brews or making whatever, you can talk through the window because it's got a worktop on it, and it just ties the whole thing together. The energy between the two rooms flows. Whereas with a window there, I put a window in, I spent 150 quid on a window and spent an afternoon fitting it, and Emma come in and went, "What have you put a window there for?" I'm like, "I've no idea," because that's what I did in my house. And she's like, "Take it out." I'm like, "Okay, we'll take it out." So we took it out and redid it all, and it's brilliant. It's really cool.
What about your skills?
My skills? Well, you said you...
Instead of like, so the tides is very quirky. There isn't a straight wall in the whole place.
the
There's
whole
lots of
thing's like
different
parallel
angles. I
ground.
know, Susie, you've been working with some weird angles recently. And it's really difficult to get furniture to fit a lot of the time. So John is a craftsman. I'm not going to call him a joiner or a carpenter because you are a craftsman, basically.
Thank you.
So when we were discussing the project, I said, why on earth would you put side tables, bedside tables in that everybody else has got when you can craft something beautiful? And yeah, it took a lot of time.
Yeah, it took loads of time.
But nobody else has got what John's got in this
we've got
essay. It's
live
going to
edge.
stand out.
We've got, you know when you get a live edge board, it's like that, isn't it? It looks like a live edge board. So all our alcoves in the bedrooms, they've all got oak shelves, live edge. It's not a live edge. I've basically got a jigsaw and an axe and a spoke shave and a sander and turned them into live edge boards and polished them. So I've got live edge boards everywhere, but
they're all unique.
It's really unique. So it lifts it, it elevates it above, like your standard essay that somebody would kit out and whatnot. And we've got I got a slab of Scotch pine, which is about 6 foot long and 3 foot wide, and I bought it off a guy in our village. He had it stored in his garage for about 6 months, and it was just sat there. And I turned it into a dining table. So I had a set of legs. I've got this huge slab of timber that I turned into this dining table again with this live edge. But that's just natural. And in the bathroom, we put a live edge piece of. There's a piece of ash in the bathroom with a brass rail under it for your towels and so forth. Again, it's the same style.
Just using your skills, weren't it?
It's just using my skills. But the polarity is there's so much more investment in time and effort and energy, and that's kind of cost me in a sense. When I work for clients, I'm gone at 5 o'clock. When I work on my own stuff, I've been there probably till 6:30 most nights. I've done every day for the last 6 weeks. I've done midnight about 3 times, sanding this table up, just so that we want this essay to be ready for the start of school holidays, which is now, and it is. So when you have if you want to get stuff done, set yourself a really unrealistic deadline that you don't want to meet, and you get it done. But the offset is, I can feel the compounding tiredness sort of build up over time, and stuff starts going more slowly. So I'm now, at the end, after doing 6 weeks straight of long days, I might be getting half done of doing joinery of what I'd normally do for a private client in a day because I'm fresh and I'm rested and so forth. So that also ties into outsourcing all your labour to somebody else, and you going off doing something else. But because of the building has it's evolved organically as we've done it, and to try and explain that to somebody else and put it across for us to achieve exactly what we want to achieve, sometimes it's easier to do it yourself when you get the outcome you want, but it isn't easier to do it yourself in the amount of time and effort that's required.
We've not been exactly rigid, have we?
Oh no, it's all
It's been
flexible.
quite fluid.
Yeah, it's been dead fluid. Which is why, and when we chat about what we're going to do or what we're going to use or the app we're going to use, it's back and forth and back and forth, and it's like a game of tennis. And then you get to the answer at the end.
Yeah.
And the answer is normally the right one, because if you just said, yeah, I like that, go ahead and do it, and you did it, that might be the first outcome of 5 or 6 choices which you work through and get to and think, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So I can't see of what we've achieved and what we've built, there's nothing that I don't like. There's nothing that I think I wish we'd done it differently. So I'm really happy with it.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm dead happy with it.
We've kind of already touched on this, but how did you find the communication and collaboration throughout the whole project?
Well, yeah, you reply quick.
Yeah.
When you WhatsApp people, if they reply within about 10 minutes, it's just easy, isn't it?
It's easy.
I use WhatsApp all the time. I set up WhatsApp groups with all my clients. With like, if there's a couple, I'll set it up with them, both of them and me. And I just reply really quick, and I just like people that reply quick. So everything that we sent to you, you'd send us back 15 options within half an hour or whatever. And yeah, it's easy.
A couple of times they were just like two and going, we're having this, but
yeah.
But yeah.
But the good thing is you can be as pushy as you want to be, because it's not as if you don't just sit there in the background and don't say it. You are like, right, let's do this. But I'm also happy and confident enough to say, no, Emma, we're not doing that. I don't like that. This is what I like, and this is what we're doing. And you might go, okay, right, that's cool. Or you might say, well, what about this? And I'll go, okay, right, that works. So it's good that we kind of match. Yeah. We can sort of push each other a bit. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. There was something quite controversial in the Tides, and it's been very controversial with everybody that we've spoken to, in terms of... No. So my advice, there is the glass as well, actually, but my advice in particular contradicted everybody's. What colour carpet do you all put in an SA? Grey? Do you all put in grey?
Does everyone put in grey?
Does anybody put in askew brown? Askew brown? So
the easiest way to describe that is chocolate brown.
Chocolate brown. Chocolate Labrador brown is askew brown. So there's a story to askew brown.
Yeah. Well, you suggested brown.
I suggested brown.
Oh, no, Jesus Christ.
Everybody, and I am looking. There are a few faces being pulled. Trust me, it works. It's the seaside.
It works. It works
It's
brilliantly.
warm. It warms the whole place up. You did have a moment, didn't you, one day when you messaged me and went, "Are we sure about this?" And I went, "Well, I believe it works, but actually, you're the client. It's your money. So if you want to go with something else, it's up to you."
Yeah.
And I got told off. I didn't get told off that night. There was capital letters on that text. It was, yeah. Because I sat there and went, "Oh shit, John's telling me off," and it was literally like, "You're supposed to tell me that's what we're having," and I'm like, "Well, that is what we're having." Yeah, that is what you said. And I was well, that's what I think we should have. But ultimately, it's your money. It's a lot of money to spend. But it works so well, and everybody who's seen it says, "Oh, go, that looks wicked."
Can I just make a point before I forget it? The great thing about working with you or working with somebody else, such as yourself, when you said, I said to you, you're supposed to tell me what we're having, it lends you a lot of confidence to make decisions when somebody else is telling you what to do. You can kind of step back. I like working with people that are a lot better than me at their field and just letting them do it.
But I sent, within about 10 minutes of John having a wobble on Askew Brown, which you can tell the story in a minute, I sent him over, literally, just a bit of a mood board with all the colours that we were using in the property, and a grey carpet, and then a brown carpet. And he came back and went, "I hate the grey, I love the brown." And that was it.
Yeah, it's the greatest look they're called.
It didn't warm it.
No.
But Askew Brown dates back to your childhood, doesn't it?
Brown,
basically.
Who grew up in the 70s, the 80s?
Born in the 80s.
You were born in the 80s. Did you have brown carpets? Did you have brown velour furniture? No, that's like a bit like velvet.
Yeah,
Anybody?
We did.
I did.
It's like a beige
My
brown.
dad covered everything in brown velour at the upholstery, so all his second-hand chairs that he bought from the junk shop, he had done in bloody brown velour. And when my son was born 20 years ago, my pal come round. I nicked a chair from Lancaster Uni, one of the lounges, and then it recovered in brown. And I never really considered it. And my pal come round to visit me to see my son when he was born, and he walked in and he went, "Oh, you've got a new chair, and you've had it recovered in Askew Brown." I'm like, "What the hell's Askew Brown?" And he's like, "Well, your dad did everything in this colour." And I'm like, "Holy shit, I'm turning into." I'm like,
Not intended.
Christ. I'm becoming like old and this old person. So Askew Brown, I'm like, "Emma, we are not having a brown carpet. It's bloody Askew Brown. I'm not having it. We're not going there."
And now?
And now we've got brown carpets, and they look amazing.
It does.
Yeah, they look super cool.
So when I first got involved, renovations were well and truly underway. When we were obviously initially discussing working together and restaging the property, would you do anything different on the next one?
I'd ask you right at the beginning.
Why?
Because we put beds in the wrong place. So I've got like 14 sockets in my bedrooms. So you can put the bed on any wall because there's sockets everywhere.
But the bed doesn't work on every. In
No,
fact,
it
the
only
bed
works.
doesn't fit on every
No,
wall,
it
does it?
only works on one wall.
Yeah.
As you said, the money shot is.
Yeah. And the window, of course.
The window.
You'd have saved 150 quid on a window.
Yeah, they said 150 quid on a window. The other thing was from our front door to our back door to the bottom of the garden is a straight line. You got line of sight all the way through. And when we bought the house, there was basically this line of sight with a lot of kitchen units on this wall. So you had to walk in the kitchen, weave back round, walk out the doorway into the conservatory, and it just didn't work. And I was going to put the kitchen in the same as was, because that was what the kitchen was.
Yeah.
And you said, "No, don't put any kitchen units in." It wasn't just you. One kitchen designer said, "Yeah, we'll do that." And then the other guy said, "Actually, it'd work better without them."
Yeah.
And you came in and said exactly the same thing, that no, don't put anything on that wall. Because as you walk in the front door, you've got 50 foot from the front door to the back fence. So when all the doors are open, you can see all the way through and all the light comes piling through. And if you've got a unit there, it just interrupts that line of sight.
You can literally see at the end of the garden, we've put in some bright pink actual garden furniture, and you can actually see it from the front door, which Ed thought was hilarious on Sunday when we said, "Can you take a photograph from the front door and get the pink furniture in at the bottom?" And he was like, "No."
We had this sort of image of this looking through this tunnel and seeing this pink furniture pop at the end. And then said I can do it, but I'll have to stand 4 miles away with a lens that's this long and take the pictures, and then it'll work. I'm like, right, it'll work. Yeah.
So
it looks alright.
We know that you were getting ready for summer. You've actually ended up with some guests, very impromptu guests. So what feedback have you had so far from those guests and anybody else who's been in, and how's that feedback made you feel?
They're not my guests. I'm not that good that I got me all guests within 2 hours of finishing it. Well, I was still finishing it when my guests turned up. So the guy that's helping us set up all the systems, all the channel manager and all that other stuff, he's got 12 units and he's got too many guests and not enough units. So I said, can I borrow, can my guests use your house? I'm like, yeah, of course you can. So these two girls walked in, these two students from Lancaster ROI, they walked in and they were like, Jesus Christ, is it the whole house? I'm like, yeah, it's the whole house. Do we have to pay you more money? I'm like, no, it's fine. They're like, it's amazing. So it was really nice to see somebody walk in and just go, wow, this is
I appreciate what you've done.
Yeah.
Cool. So you never intended to produce a blank box. I know you're very, very particular about artwork, as am I, to be honest. Now the project's completed, how do you think the staging and the design elements have actually impacted the appeal and the marketability?
It's a fisherman's cottage. It's 2 minutes from Morecambe Promenade. What's it?
Yay!
Is it going to play?
It is playing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So it's 2 minutes from Morecambe Promenade. It's a fisherman's cottage, and we wanted this sort of seasidey feel to it.
But not 1980s.
But not 1980s. And I told a pal of mine's into craft and sewing and stuff in our village. She said, would you like me to make you some bunting? I'm like, no, not in the slightest. I don't want any bunting. And so we've got a coastal feel with the art and the colours and so on and so forth, without going overboard, without sticking shells on the wall, and without it, there's no seaweed draped over doorways or anything like that. It's just really, really clean. So it's pastel blue. The cool thing was, one of my kind of goals was to improve Morecambe in a sense, because I love Morecambe. I think it's a cool place. You wouldn't say it's the most salubrious place in the world, but I love it, and it's got so much going for it. And yeah, one of my goals was to improve the place. And the lady next door, when she saw us painting the back of the house, and then we started to paint the front, she said, I've been thinking about, I've painted the front of my house as well. And can we split a scaffold? So we did. We shared a scaffold, and she painted hers and I painted mine. And I didn't think anything of it. And then my wife said to me, we were talking about looking at pictures, and she said, "You did that?" I said, "What do you mean I did that?" And she said, "Your enthusiasm and your sort of passion for what you're doing carried into next door." And they watched it and thought, "I want to get involved in this." And I'm like, "All right." And I never even twigged. And I'm not trying to big myself up and blow my own trumpet, but I pick up litter around my house all the time. It's not my litter. And I'm going to clean the parking signs and on the lampposts, and just so that it looks nicer. Yeah. And everybody, when we landed, I knock on everybody's door and I give them a business card, I introduce myself, and I say, "We're going to be making a bit of noise, there'll be loads of mess. I'll clean it up. If you have a problem, don't complain. That's my number. Come and knock on the door, I'll fix it. If you've got a problem with me, it's not, all the local drug dealers and stuff. No, nothing to do with that.
It's in a really nice area.
But if you've got a problem, I'll do everything I can to help." And so many people chat. My wife hates it because we never get anywhere. Because you'll be talking to everybody, but consequently, even when I've been picking up rubbish when we've been walking to the prom, somebody shouts across from standing outside the pub, "Oh, cool, thank you. That's really nice that you're doing that." I'm like, "Well, it's not rocket science, is it?" And she says, "No, it's not at all. I wish everybody would do it, or I wish you wouldn't throw it on the floor in the first place."
But you understand that first impressions matter.
First impressions
and
matter.
And the first impression, when you turn into the street, it is like a little coastal town now, because they're all following suit and looking after the properties.
So I see the street as being an extension of our house. So that as my guests turn round, the first thing they see is like crisp packets and shit on the floor.
So hurdles, I'm sure there were many. I know there were many.
Loads.
Do you want to talk about a couple and how you've overcome them?
We can talk about beds, because this gentleman's going to talk about beds in a bit. So does anyone know Shimon Ruddick? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everyone went, "Ooh."
There's a reason for that, in terms of what you bought.
He was all right. No, some of it. Shimon was fine.
Some of it was fine.
I bought all Shimon Ruddick's SA furniture from 7 units in Manchester, based on the fact that I have a mate with a farm and a barn that I could store it in, and I got a really good deal on 7 units of SA furniture. It took me a Thursday night, and then me and Mark Nichols started at 8 a.m. on Sunday, and we finished at 2 a.m. on Monday morning, back and forth to Manchester with a Luton van and his van. So
how many fridge freezers?
7. 7 fridge freezers, 7 tellies, 14 beds, 2 couches, washing machines, microwaves, everything.
And what was the problem with the beds?
They won't go up the bloody stairs, will they? So I've got the mattresses up the stairs. The mattresses are really cool. The beds, you can't get them from the living room round and up the stairs, because they either hit the first step, or they hit the top of the door casing. So I've got all this furniture and I can't do anything with it. But yeah, anyway, Peter, we spoke to Peter, and he supplied us with some zip and link beds that came in quarters, so they were dead simple. Yeah. So that was a hurdle, but it wasn't anything big. There was a
beautiful mirror. We didn't think we were going to get up the stairs as well.
Oh yeah, massive mirror. A massive mirror, and I looked at it, I thought it's the same size as the bed. Like, shit, we're not going to get up the stairs, but it was dead easy, wasn't it?
I won't say carrying that up the stairs was dead easy, but could have done with you there then, Chris, to be honest. So there we go. Bit of muscle.
Is this, what are the hurdles?
Hurdles, yes.
Is this the last question?
No, there's a couple more. Only quickie ones.
What are the hurdles? I can't actually.
I know.
Go on, you just...
The weather.
Oh yeah, the
Morecambe weather.
The weather's been alright all week, hasn't it?
Well,
for the last
let's put it this way: the photo
Right,
shoot should have taken place on Tuesday. This was after watching the
It wasn't
forecast
just
for
that.
a long
It
time, and
wasn't
then
just that. Trying to get my scaffold down,
Yeah.
but having to get the back of my house rendered. So when I had the back of my house rendered, I had a lad that was working for me, float it all on, scratch it on, and then Dave Fylde, who's working on our latest development, was going to come round and finish it. And he turned up and he's like, I can't work with that. I'm like, what's wrong with it? He went, well, can you not tell? I'm like, yeah, I can tell. So one of the hurdles is don't use people that aren't qualified based on you pushing them into doing it because you think you're going to get it done quick. Because it'll take you longer and it'll cost you twice as much, which it did. And then it kept. So I couldn't get it done because it just kept pissing it down. So that kind of kicked on and kicked on and kicked on and kicked on.
Yeah.
So you're wanting to get your rendering done so you can get your scaffold down so you can then put your new roof on your conservatory. So one day can,
disappear.
well,
Time
2
wise
weeks can
can-
disappear because all you're wanting is a day and everything else disappears.
Yeah.
So that was a hurdle. I think staying focused, keeping the end goal in mind and staying focused and keeping your mindset strong, that's a massive hurdle. And when I've not seen as much of my kids and my wife as I want to because I've been working on my house.
Yeah.
And again, it ties back into leveraging other people's time. Why are you doing it? I know why I'm doing it. So it's. I don't think I ever really. I never thought, right, I'm quitting. But there was a couple of days when I went home and I said, Paul, I could just quit doing this. I've really had enough. And then I'll get up the next day and I'll go and do it all again.
For a couple of days you rang me.
Yeah, I did.
I'm like, come on.
I rung you this morning.
Yeah.
Because I rung you this morning because I was up till midnight last night prepping joinery for today because I was late last night trying to get rid of cardboard. Cardboard. Have you tried kitting out a house in 3 weeks and figuring out how much cardboard there is?
It's just a lot.
Oh my God, there's tons of it. It filled my van 3 times. And my bin men took it today. It was amazing. It didn't go in the blue bin because it went from about here to the window and it's about 4 foot high and 3 foot thick and it's boxes filled with boxes.
Yeah.
So consequently, I had to get rid of that from the recycling. I didn't get my joinery prepped until midnight. Paul was on the computer for 4 hours trying to set up Airbnb, and even she's starting to say Jesus Christ and swearing a lot. My wife doesn't do this. So, no, she doesn't lose it. So.
Oh no, not lose it. I've heard her swear a few times.
Yeah, she's sworn loads lately. Trying to set up a new business from scratch.
Yeah. Not easy.
It's not easy at all.
We kind of wanted to talk about a bit of the nitty-gritty behind it all today because everybody
what we
kind
saying
of
this morning.
yeah, everybody talks about you
The
see
results
that
and the
and
shiny
go, oh,
stuff.
this looks really nice, but it's like what do you have to do to achieve that? And there's a lot of hours, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and
I forgot
Yeah.
it was on there. See,
Yeah, it's on
that's the window into the kitchen. So where you can see that plant. So that's the window into
Yeah.
the kitchen. When you look at the worktops, they're just some old worktops I bought off a pal of mine. No, I didn't buy them. There was a pal of mine taking a kitchen out for somebody. Old worktops. They're perfect. Attack them with a jigsaw and a sander, and you can turn them into live outdoor worktops. And they've got holes and stuff in them, and it's because
if you've
it's
got the skills.
Sorry.
If you've got the skills.
If you've got the skills, you can do it. But I love doing that. That's probably my favourite bit of doing the job is taking a pile of old timber and turning it into something beautiful. That's what I like doing.
So, what would you say to somebody who's considering using like home staging services
every time.
for the first time?
Yeah, I'll ring you next time straight away. I'd never do it myself. It was hard enough just answering questions. Just saying, Paula, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this?
Yeah.
And it just went on forever. And not in a bad way, but that's just the process.
But that was because you wanted to be involved as
I
well.
wanted to be involved, yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't, then obviously it'd be dead easy.
Yeah.
So
It's what you want,
funny.
but I think one of the things that you said to me was, well, actually, you did do a LinkedIn post that said you'd rather burn your own hair or something like that. I think it was. No, that was about you'd rather do that than do what I've been doing.
Oh yeah, got it done on mill 17 times.
And all the rest of it, yeah.
No, so it's funny. I want to build a really big portfolio, and I won't do that by doing joinery in my own houses.
Yeah. It's about outsourcing.
Yeah, it's about outsourcing stuff. But on this, it's obviously I'm at the beginning of this. I'm not. I'm fairly new. I'm only 2 years into this, so I'm still learning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still learning, and I'm learning that you can't do everything yourself. You've got to lean on other people.
Yeah.
And
you are a perfectionist.
yeah, that's
which is
there's polarity.
It's hard to let go of things. I think when you're a perfectionist.
Yeah, really. That's one of the hardest things is to let someone else do joinery, and because I really like how I like the detail. You can tell how if you look at anything, if the very fine details are perfect, you don't have to think about the rest of it. You know, the stuff that's really insignificant that no one really sees. If that's perfect, the rest of it's fine. You know, you don't even have to look at it. So I really like the finisher stuff.
Yeah.
So with single lets, I'll quite happily let somebody else do it all because they don't have to be absolutely perfect. But something like this, I wanted it to be just right.
Yeah.
But again, there's polarity in that.
So
it is a challenge.
Final question from me.
Go.
What lessons did you learn generally about undertaking a project like this?
We already spoke about having high standards. Right, order everything ahead of time. All the stuff that
Should we talk about the fire?
Yeah, the fire.
The fire?
Like the fire.
The fire, if I put you... I said...
I knew about that fire 4 weeks before.
Yeah.
I didn't want to spend £450 on a fire. So I thought, if I just don't spend it at this point, I don't have to spend it. But I obviously have to spend it at some point because I need a fire. So I bought it. It turned up, the morning of the photo shoot or the day before the photo shoot. And I had to ring round everybody really quick and say, have you got this fire? And then your pal, your friend Terry, ordered me one and it turned up the day before the photo shoot.
And he was going to lend you the display one, wasn't it, if it hadn't arrived. That's how tight it was. Yet we'd had the conversation.
That's my fault.
6 weeks earlier.
Yeah, so when you're going to have to spend money anyway, just spend it. Because you're not going to have to not spend it. You've got to spend it. Yeah. So sometimes I do this and you're like, John, you're a dickhead. You've done this last time. You're going to have to spend the £450 at some point, so just do it now. Yeah. So that's one. Yeah, order things early. Lean on people. Yeah, I'm a massive introvert, so I recharge by not being with people, by being on my own. But being on your own all the time on a building site, for not all the time, it's a lot easier working with people. You get, I now recharge more from being with people. Yeah. Paul will know when I come home from work if I've been with people. She can tell because my mood's different. So yeah, when you've got challenges, lean on people, ask them. And the answer's normally who, not how. If you can't figure out how to do it, someone knows. So ring them and ask them. And they'll just go, oh yeah, you do that. Yeah, right. Thought about that for like 3 hours and you just knew the answer. Yeah. So yeah, lean on people. Cool. Don't wait until you're confident enough to do something. That's the biggest thing I've learned from all of this, from my time of turning up, talking to you on phone, finding you on, listening to you talking to Kevin McDonald, and then turning up. The biggest thing I've learned, don't wait till you're confident enough to talk. To do stuff. Step off the cliff, and then you'll figure it out. And that's what builds your confidence. You don't do stuff full of confidence. You build confidence by doing stuff that's really frightening. Yeah. And then you come out the other side and go, I'm more now. Now I can go off and feel really unconfident in another room or in another scenario, do that, and then you go again and you get a bit bigger. And then if you keep doing it, I don't know where you end up. But that's the biggest thing I've learned about all this. And that's just not the tides, that's going buying houses. And that's just in general. Yeah. So.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool.
Anyone got any questions for John?
Or
me?
Or Emma.
Anybody want to know what it's like working with John?
It's good crack, isn't it?
It was a good crack.
Yeah.
We did have a good laugh. Yeah.
Someone must have one question.
No one?
Do you know roughly what kind of John? Do you know roughly what kind of return it's going to be? Do you have a guesstimate?
That's the one thing. I'm a bit reckless. I figured out that it pretty much stacked. I haven't actually added up all my numbers.
Okay.
I haven't. I'll tell you one thing, behind me, there are swathes of jobs and tasks that need doing just everywhere. Because, you know, if you're doing something and you're just super focused on that one thing and you're going that way, everything else kind of falls off behind. There's paperwork, there's my accounts, there's paying my suppliers, there's all this other stuff, there's looking after the costs. So when I add it all up, I'll know what the return will be. But it's within it's within what I'd expected. But obviously there's always unforeseen expenses. Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't realise how much an essay cost to fit out.
I think it's that, you know, it's in a way the fact the slides weren't up to start with, and we all had to watch Martin trying to hide his search history before he got the slides. It's actually quite nice to have the build up to it and then see the results.
Oh,
Is it? Oh, God.
It actually works really well.
What do you
God.
think?
And it's beautiful. And I'd say, obviously, having designed lots of HMOs myself, you know, when I look at the progression of where I started and where I am, you know, you do build your confidence. But I'd say you've nailed it. It looks beautiful, Emma. It's
Thank
really nice. And I know John wouldn't have been able to do that without you.
No,
That-
not
that's
from
gonna-
at all.
No disrespect, but you wouldn't.
No, of course not.
And it's just good. That's going to fly out, and you'll make your money back so much more quickly because it just looks beautiful. Obviously, the photography is fantastic. People just going to absolutely.
Yeah, Ed's done a great job.
So
Yeah, it's-
whatever you paid Emma, because I'm sure she won't tell us what that is, but you'll make it back more quickly,
Yes.
and it will just keep going on.
It's
So,
funny.
Well done.
We've never done SA, so looking at price points, we've set it just under £200 a night, and when you look at 4 night stay plus cleaning plus your Airbnb fee, it's £1,050 or it's ballpark.
Yeah.
Do people pay this?
You'll find out.
I'll find out.
Let us know.
Yeah, I
On
know.
LinkedIn.
Sorry.
On LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
You can let us know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting for you to share the pictures. I'm
Yeah, I know,
letting
I've
you
not
obviously
done
do
them.
that
I'm not-
first. I'm not
it's-
jumping on board
Oh,
with
thank
it
you.
first.
No,
I'm
I've not
waiting for
done
you to do it.
But again, it's trying to fit everything in, and the stuff that isn't a priority just doesn't get done.
Yeah.
So I'm playing catch up now with all the tasks and stuff that I haven't done for the last 6 weeks. That I just do what I have to do.
Yeah.
It just has to wait. If you want to get to this point, everything else kind of falls in
It
the
does.
background,
Get it
and that's
done.
hard
It does.
work. You
It
know,
is hard
you
work.
look at it and think, shit, I've got flipping all these things now to sort out. So even when you finish, you're not finished.
Can you tell the carpets are brown on the photos, by the way?
Yeah.
And what do you all think? Nice,
It
works.
works amazingly well.
Got to say, I followed the journey of this.
Hi everyone, you alright? Yeah, so John, Emma, really good little interview format there in the first half. That was bloody brilliant. I think it's interesting to see kind of how the background stuff of everything makes the journey so much more worthwhile. And I suppose in one respect or another, this is the sort of thing that as a furniture provider, we actually give our clients the opportunity to make their investment mature and get a better return by providing them with the right sort of services and consultation services and what they need and the right sort of products. So whenever I do a talk of this nature, I like to start off on a very good foot. And this is a review that we received from a client of ours who not was only ordered from us once, not twice, but almost a dozen times now. And for me, this just sums up exactly what the service for us is all about. 100% service, it's no quibble, it's no arguments, it's just a full, everything is exactly as it should be, and that kind of sets a tone for the way that we like to do our business. Now, we're not reinventing the wheel in the fact that we sell furniture, but what we do is actually fantastic in the fact that we provide a service that I'm really proud of. Now, prior to doing this, I was a letting agent for 23 years. Lettings and sales agent, okay? So I'd been dealing with HMOs and service accommodation properties and rental properties all up and down the country for ages. And this brand is one that I really got behind. It's run by my friends, 16 years. I've been doing business development for and behind the scenes for the last couple of years, and 3 months ago, gave up my job in property. Complete change of direction, and I'm happy that I did. Now, from my point of view, your Property Furnished are a very well rounded off an established company, and a lot of people will say, look, why am I going to use you? I use landlord furniture company, I use Loft, I use whoever I use, why am I going to come to you? And the simple thing is, I'm not going to stand here and berate anybody's service or downclassify anything that anybody else does. All I want to do is tell you about how proud I am about what we do. Our product range is something that so many people compliment us on, because come the end of this month, when all of our little ranges are added onto the website, you're going to have 250 variations of bedroom furniture in design, colour and feel. And that is fantastic. No other furniture company can offer you that in the market. Free consultation service is something that we give to every single client. Now, we're not interior designers, we're not stagers, but what will happen is if you come to me and say, I've got a 4-bedroom property and I want to do it as a HMO, what do I need? Send me a link to it on Rightmove, send me a link to it on Zoopla, give me a floor plan, give me something to work off, and I'll then be able to start strategically working around the property for you to figure out what needs to go in. Now, having been a letting agent in the past, I know that if you're doing a HMO, it's all about storage. So maximising floor space and giving you storage. I know that if you're doing a service accommodation, it's all about bums on seats. And more importantly, if you are working with a stager or an interior designer, somebody's helping you make that happen, I work with them wholeheartedly throughout the whole process, and you just say, crack on, just work with them. Have a completely hands-off experience. We deliver the full breadth of the country. And anywhere that's kind of like 100 miles from Manchester is kind of like free delivery. After that, you might need to pay a bit, but you might not. We understand that investors will buy properties for investment, you know, for kind of any sort of SA or HMO purposes, wherever they are. You don't always buy where you live, and we appreciate that. So all of these places are major cities dotted around the UK that we've delivered to in the last 3 weeks. And if you bear that in mind, we've got 4 vans out delivering to all these places. I've probably been to about 6 of those places in the last 3 weeks on networking events. Now, not only do we kind of supply everything, but we deliver it and we install it as well. And that might be like a lot of companies just rock up and go, where do you want it? In the shed, in the garage, in the front room, that's it, we're off. But we actually go in, we unpackage everything, we put it into place, and we actually have it left in the property for you ready. So all you need to do is literally just dress the beds, however you want them dressed. If you kind of go through the stage where you kind of, you know, you're there and you go, I want that there, that there, that there, we put it there. If you're not there and you just want to leave us a key box code, we just go in, we crack on, and we do it for you. All the hard furniture has a 3-year warranty. So I was chatting to somebody, always chat to people, and they're like, oh, well, you know, the beds are the biggest problem, aren't they? Whenever you have a property, whether it be HMO or SA or even a buy-to-let, the beds, because they're the things that kind of like to fail the most. But our bed's got a 3-year warranty. Manufacturing defects covered. Get any issues, you just come back to us and we'll happily replace the item. Lease finance. Now, a lot of people like to get involved in rent to HMO, rent to SA, and the easiest thing that I kind of say to them is it's an entry-level investment, so they actually want to kind of be in a position where they're not putting a lot of money in at the front. We have a finance provider who we work with, who kind of presented here several times before. Claire Saunders, from Cashflow Leasing, and she's fantastic. So what I always do is I say to people, if you're going to be using a finance arm, if you're going to be going down that route, do me a favour now. Go and have a chat with her. Find out how much you can get from her. She'll actually go through a process where she'll say, right, she'll start an application similar to a mortgage when you get an agreement in principle, but she'll go through the actual part and go, you could borrow X amount towards your furniture costs or whatever it is, and then you go for an application. The reason is finance can take about 4 weeks to outlay, but it is something that we do. Our aftercare and customer service is probably one of the most brilliant things in the world. So we had a client that phoned us up last Friday and was like, oh, I've cocked up. You've sent me this order, and it was to Hartlepool. 8-bedroom HMO. We talked about having XYZ on the order, and it's not here, and I've realised that I've read the quote and haven't actually noticed it wasn't there. So Monday afternoon, what happened? We had a van go over to Hartlepool with 2 bedsides in. And that's the sort of length that we'll go to make sure that people are very happy. So our product ranges, like I say, are expanding and growing all the time. And here's just a couple of the new things that are being added in to the range. Really dynamic, lovely colours, different designs, bedsides, occasional chairs, nice little settees, table nests. These sort of things come the end of the week. Like I say, I'm going to probably have 250 bedroom variations. I'm probably going to have about 20 different sofas put in. I'm going to have God knows how many different chairs and occasional chairs and tables. You'll have to visit the website, don't just take it from me. Colour and choices. Now, thank you very much. Right, this is one of the major things, right? So when Emma came to me for sourcing the beds for John, one of the things that she's asking is, she's like, oh, I want to see what colours you got, because I know what colours these walls are going to be. And interior designers are a different breed. Stagers are a different breed. They want to touch and feel and lick everything. They just want to be like, oh. They kind of want to get like really in the nitty gritty with it. So what did Emma do? She came to our showroom. She had a look around. She touched the bed. She felt them. She sat on them. And was like, yeah, I'm happy. She picked the colours, and tonight she's got her own colour swatch. Bearing in mind, every single bed we do, you can have in any of those colours. So if you're colourblind, we'll let you know at some point, just in case you're getting colours that don't quite work well. But the sort of ranges that we've got there are brilliant. I would recommend to anybody that's looking to use us, don't just take it from me, speak to people who have done that, and come down to the showroom. Visit us, have a bit of a chat with us, and see what we can do for you. June and July, summer season, HMOs, crikey, student HMOs. Students move out, at the end of June, 30th of June? Come the 1st of July, managing agents are in, pulling the hair out, because our lovely little Lisa from Portsmouth has spent the last 9 months with a massive suitcase on top of a wardrobe, and the doors are warped and it's falling over. She's left a candle going on the bedside and 4 cups of coffee on the top of the chest of drawers that have ruined it. This pack we do for landlords and agents as a quick bundle. I mean a quick, like, you want it within 2 or 3 days? You get it within 2 and 3 days at $739 plus VAT. And it's a fantastic little offering. By the end of the month, yet again, there'll be more added into that, but lovely little colour range there to work from. And that's an Albi blue colour. I quite like that. You can have it in white, you can have it in normal wood. I'm not going to go on too long, because I know we've had a busy night. So QR code is there. That QR code will take you through to that website. So I don't know if anybody wants to kind of take a note of it so they can have a little look at what we're doing or what we can offer. And I hope it is related to that and not my fantasy football league. Because I made some very poor choices. I made some very poor choices last year.
I was just going to say, it's definitely not your fantasy football.
Big sofa deals. There we go. Right, so Mike's asked me just to carry on this part now at the end. I'd like to support other local events. I mean, the local event that's going to be sponsored, well, kind of talked about, is my event, Bay Property Network. So we run this up in Morecambe at the Fylde Rugby Club. So it's a bit of a new venue for us. We used to do it at the Morecambe Hotel. The event's been running since 2019. So we promote a PPN event. Promote us in turn, which is great. And this month we've got Julie Whitmore, who was meant to be this month's speaker for you guys. So obviously, due to a booking change, she couldn't be here tonight because her PIN event clashes with tonight. So Julie, not only is she a property investor, she's a PIN host, and she's also an author for YPN. So you've got your YPN magazines on your desk there. You'll be able to have a look at those. She features in those most months. All right. So she's going to be with us. Last Wednesday of every month, 7 o'clock onwards, come for a bit of casual networking, make some really good connections, and it's a really good little community, if I do say so myself. So that's a link to the Eventbrite. Thank you all, and I'm open to any questions if you have any.
Yeah, go on. I suppose for anybody that does do HMOs and essays and would